Hey everybody, welcome back. Now that we're done with all the intake piping, it's time to fit a deck lid to this. So I've had this Fiberglass W deck lid for a while. I'm going to go with this on this version of my Bug. So far I picked up this stainless hinge off of Amazon, and I drilled and tapped the fiberglass just for temporary to hold this on until I fiberglass over the hinge and make it part of the deck lid itself. And this actually goes right into the intercooler. So I'll get this thing bolted on here and show you guys how it looks. And today we're going to be setting up this lower latch on the deck lid. So that was the main reason to put the hinge on here, so that way when the action of the latch comes in and out, it's not going to be putting stress on a bracket if it was made stationary, if that makes sense. So these are just long 8mm Allen bolts. I don't know if you can see this thumb and frame or not, they just sit in there. No washers as of yet. So instead of using nuts or just having that thing flop around, I picked up these 8mm wing nuts. Those will go right on the bottom side. So then when I release the latch, that'll allow it to come up. And I guess if you really needed to check the oil level or get to a fan belt or spark plug wires, you could. And I guess you'd have a rain shield if it was raining. Yeah, that'll look pretty good. Then I'm probably going to fill all this in where it's got a spot for like a factory license plate light. This will be filled in. Yeah, that'll work pretty nice. So let me see if I can tuck my phone in here. On the last deck lid that I did, let's see if I can turn on the light here. There we go. So there's probably, I don't know, 3/8 of an inch maybe a ½ inch of clearance down there. So what I did on the last deck lid that I made this latch for, I put spray foam back there to fill the cavity. Then I trimmed the spray foam back, and then I fiberglassed that piece of bracket that I have bolted to the actual latch itself. So I'm going to try digging out some spray foam. If not, I'm going to have to go pick some up, but that's the plan. There's those wing nuts. So that makes it nice and accessible. Alright, well, I'll get some I'll get some supplies. We'll go from there. There it is, foamed in. So once that cures, and I'll cut back the excess and I'll fiberglass over that. And then while I'm at it, I don't know if I'm going to take care of this with some resin or if I'll just wait for Bondo time. I probably will hit it with some resin, but I got to sand this whole deck lid down and address some of this stuff. I'm probably going to end up making this a little tiny transition or going flat with it. I'm not sure yet, but we'll see. And then I think I'm going to glass from the top of this up to the ledge of this bracket. So kind of fill that in, and that should turn out pretty nice. So until I get to fiberglass work, I'm going to end this video and let that stuff cure, but I'll put you guys back on when it's the next step. Here we are the next day. This spray foam has cured, so I'm going to have to trim that. And I'm going to start prepping to do the fiberglass work on the bottom side. I'm not a pro at fiberglass. I've only done it a couple times, so I wouldn't necessarily call this a how-to video. This is just how I'm doing it. I got some cloth, and then I have some cloth tape, so it's just a skinnier strip. So this I'll do just like my other deck lid, and I'll do like a band across this way, another one, and I'll just overlap and do like 6 layers. And then as far as up here goes, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this down to where it's flush or maybe just below. I'll leave this outside lip and kind of go off of that. And then as far as in here goes, I think what I'm going to do is lay a piece of that cloth from like right about here over to the other side on the bottom. And I'll glass that in, put some resin in where the screws are, screw that down, and put a couple layers up on top. And then I'll have those drape over the edge. And then after this is cured and I'm ready to do the outside, then I'll run it from basically the back lip down into this. So today I'm going to start sanding all this stuff down. I'm just going to rough it in with my grinder with a flap disc, and then I'll take a block and I'll get this straight. Yeah, no sandy, no sticky, so I'll put you guys on the stand. Time to get to work. All right, there's that done. I think that's going to look a lot better as a finished product. Pretty straight for doing it with a grinder and just barely hitting it with a block, or longboard, I mean. Anyways, where these chips were, I sanded them down. Just try to get rid of most of the damage. There might still be like, you know, a little bit right there. Whatever. I'm no pro body man, you know what I'm saying? Or fiberglass for that matter. I'm just kind of going along. Obviously I'll have to sand the outside of it, but I wanted to get this grinding stuff done. Just knock it out all at once. So I'll put you guys back on in the garage here. I got some strips prepped, so let's move on to the next step. So here we are the next day. Fitted it on just to see how it looks. And I like the look of that a lot better than having that lip that's stuck up like a factory deck lid. So I'm just going to touch up a few areas on here. I'm going to trim this back a little bit more on both sides. Just kind of taper it a little bit. And I'll have to put a picture in here of what it looked like before. But this probably came up to about here, I'd say. And the lip was probably up to here. So that was nice. I was able to taper that back. So I've got a couple ideas I'm going to try messing with when I put this up on that cardboard box. But I'm basically going to have the fiberglass lay on top and then just come right over the edge. And I'll end up coming from here down over the hinge. And I sanded that yesterday, so I'm going to tear this apart, put it up on the cardboard box on the bench, and get prepped to do some fiberglass work. One nice thing with grinding that down is it exposed this, it opened it up. So I'll be able to put a washer and a nut back there. And I got some Allen head bolts instead of these button heads or whatever you want to call it. Or excuse me, they're like a dome lid. So coming along, I'll put this thing up and we'll put you guys back on here in a minute. Got done doing the last bit of sanding. I'm going to clean this off with some brake clean. Not sure if that's the right thing to use for prepping for fiberglass or not, but that's what I'll do. That's what I got. Now that's all clean, I'm going to bolt this hinge on. So what I did here was I just put some tape on the back side of this hinge, and then pulled it down a little bit and just put tape on the outside here. I'm going to leave a little strip of tape just on the edge, so that way when I put fiberglass over this, it'll have a spot to lay semi-flat instead of drooping down in the middle, if that makes sense. So I got some strips I need to cut for this. I already have the strips cut for that, and I need to mix up the fiberglass, and then I will put you guys right back on. So I got all my strips laid out. I'm going to mix up the resin and get going, but I got a mask on, so I'll put this on hyperlapse while I put this stuff on, but you'll see kind of the technique I do. I'll just wet the piece, put it on, wet around it with the resin, and then do that layer after layer. Alright, that's as far as I got. The resin was starting to kick, so that was that. However many layers I got on here, I lost count. But anyways, I think it's going to be pretty stout. No pro by any means, but it should hold just fine. So I'm going to let this cure overnight, and then tomorrow we'll put you guys back on and cut off all this on the outside edge and give her a quick once over with the grinder, see how everything looks, and then we'll move on from there. Here we are the next day. Fiberglass is all hardened up. Let's see, that turned out pretty good for a amateur guy. So I'm going to flip this thing over and start taking care of some of this overhang here, and hit it with the DA going across the top just to smooth it out, and I'll save the bodywork section for later, but I'll get a little bit smoother with the DA and the grinder, and then we'll see how it looks after that. So I'll put you guys on the stand. Alright, there it is, roughed in. I'll go set the camera up by the bug. Let's see how it looks. So we'll be testing out the latch too. I got that bolted on. See how everything looks. That thing is looking slick. Hell of a lot better. You'll definitely need a skim coat of mud. Get some of these low spots out. I could sit here and sand and sand and sand and do another layer of fiberglass underneath, but I think that turned out pretty good. So yeah, I'll have to finish the inside edge a little bit, but it feels pretty good. Not bad for an amateur body guy. And there's the latch down there, lined up to perfection. Now I can adjust that pin out. See how there's a little sliver of light down there? I can get that gap a little bigger by adjusting that pin, but well, besides doing the body work on it, I'm glad that fab work's done on that hinge. So that worked out really nice. Very pleased with that. So now just finish work on this. Awesome. Alright everybody, well, I'm going to call it quits for this video. So as always, thanks for watching, thanks for subbing. Until next time, we'll catch you guys on the flip side.